Oh yeah.
Hi, Dustin. How are you feeling?
Oh man, to be honest, I've felt better other times. I'm not sick, but I am not well.
Do tell.
I'm hungover a little
Wow.
bit. I partied hard in the desert, uh, and so I'm recovering. But I mean, I'm in good spirits. I'm just a little drained.
Yeah. Drink water.
Mm. Yeah, I know. I drank a ton of water last night. That's what I mean. It's like I'm a little bit hungover, but it's not like, not really like the dehydration hungover. It's just like, wow, like, oh, that was pretty hardcore partying.
Yeah.
So it was fun though. I had a blast.
Where'd you go?
We went to the middle of nowhere. Just found a wash out in the desert. Found the biggest tree we could find. Strung up a tarp, built a fire, and just
Started.
yep, just started raging, man. It was cool. We had a good time. What have you been up to?
Oh, just getting over the Easter weekend festival with the family, and working a couple of night shifts. And that's about it. So I'm tired. Not
Yeah.
whatever.
Easter was good. Easter was a good dinner. Thank you for having me over
You're welcome.
and for kind of treating me special for having to leave early.
Here you go,
appreciate it.
Dustin. Eat by yourself.
Yeah, well, you sat with me. That was nice. At
Yeah.
least I had someone to stare at me while I was eating. It was good though. It was real good. Kind of weighed me down for work. Like,
Yeah.
oof, okay, I got to get moving here in a minute.
Yeah.
But it was nice.
I know. I always get at the family functions and food and drink. It's like I get kind of tired and lethargic, and it's hard to. I guess I just can't party like I used to.
Man, it does start taking its toll. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, who was that we were listening to?
That was a track from Genesis called Three Sides Live. I was doing some research today, oddly enough. My for drummers only drummer of the week is Bill Bruford, and he was the original drummer with Yes. And then if anyone cares, gives a shit, and goes to Wikipedia, you'll see, his career, all kinds of stuff, and different incarnations of bands like King Crimson. And so what I found out was he did a brief stint with Genesis, playing the drums while Phil Collins sang. And a lot of people probably don't like Phil Collins. He kind of, I won't say he sold out, but hey, man, he back in the '80s he went solo and what have you. But so I just was listening to that with a new appreciation, and Phil Collins is a great drummer in his own right. But anyway, Bill Bruford, he did some solo stuff as well, and I can play a little something else later.
Sweet.
But I
Yeah,
thought
I'd
I
love to
would
hear it.
stray away from the progressive thingy, at least on one track. So that was a little straight ahead.
Awesome. Bill Bruford.
Bill Bruford. He's from somewhere.
Really?
No, he was born of a virgin.
Manifested one day.
Yeah.
Just out of thin air.
Yeah. Anyway, he's British. That's all you need to know.
That's all that's
He's a British badass.
the most important part.
Next topic.
Gonna do things a little bit differently. We're not gonna do a leftover meat moment today because I found a recipe for homemade ranch dressing that I want to talk about in that spot. It looks fantastic, really easy to do, and if you're an American, then you better like ranch dressing or I'm gonna kick your ass.
I think it's required now.
I've always said, they don't have ranch dressing in England. I've been told that, and
Bill Bruford said so.
I really, I figure, I figure the reason is because they would call it raunch, and nobody wants to eat something called raunch. So we're going to talk about how to make your own homemade ranch dressing. Also, I found a killer recipe for chili, which is going to be our food of the month, and you also have a chili recipe, don't you?
I do.
Awesome. So hammer those out, and then I found on foodnetwork.com. Excuse me, it's the 100 greatest cooking tips of all time. And I mean, you've got all the famous Food Network people like Mario Batali and Paula Deen and all the famous people like that. We're not going to go through all 100, but pick out a few kind of neat ideas and things that easily slip by you, and we'll talk about that. So, anyway.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool.
I'm hungry. I brought a little. Unfortunately, you're not feeling well. I brought with the chili mode. Well, we're sort of based out of Tucson. The Tucson Weekly, the local free rag, has in last week's edition Tucson's 100 essential dishes, and one of the places is Pat's Chili Dogs, which I have eaten it long ago, and I thought we would, or at least maybe I would, try one.
So today's
live and see.
Where's the place? Pat's, P-A-T-S?
P-A-T''S.
Awesome.
And it's just kind of they have a little dining area, but for the most part, it's kind of like an old school, just drive up and park, order at the window, and then a few minutes later, they hand you your bag at a different window. And, that's that.
Awesome. Very good. I wish that I hadn't eaten such a big kind of brunch.
That's okay.
I had to get something in me, and I had fajitas at Chili's, and it wasn't a mistake. It was the right thing to do. But now I'm not hungry. But I will sit here and watch you eat your chili dog as you watch me eat Easter dinner, and then we'll just call it square.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
I think I'm gonna skip the comedy club tonight. Just party real hard, and want to spend some time with the wife. So, do have a new little piece of material though, which is a true story, and it kind of ties in because it happened at a diner. I was sitting with my friends at the diner, and I look over and I see this individual, and I think, is that an 11-year-old boy or a 30-year-old lesbian? Couldn't tell, right? Nice. So I'm eating my Denver omelet, and I'm staring at this individual, and just trying to pick up little hints to see which is which, And it's far enough away to where I can't hear their conversation, but I catch just a little bit, and it's like, my soccer game last weekend, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, okay, so it's an 11-year-old boy or a 30-year-old lesbian.
Oh, man. I know. Sometimes it is.
It's tough to tell.
And when it is, good for the lesbian, because she's almost there then.
I've got a coworker who is dating a girl who's a Justin Bieber impersonator. Gets paid to go to like kids' birthday parties and pretend to be Justin Bieber. Like, that's nuts, dude.
Wow.
I mean, if you got it, use it. You know what I mean? If you can pull it off,
Yeah. How do you advertise that? How do you?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Craigslist.
Word of mouth, I guess. I know somebody that looks just like Justin Bieber. My question is, do the parents tell the kids that it's not, or do they just make them believe that it's actually Justin Bieber? Like, that's kind of messed up. Find out later. Oops, sorry. Find out later that it's all a fraud. It's all a hoax.
It's a lesbian.
Exactly. It's like, so you're dating a girl that looks like a guy that looks like a girl.
Exactly. Well, I was out at work last night, doing an exam, and so I'm waiting for someone to help me, and so I hear John Lennon's "Beautiful, Beautiful Boy," whatever that song, and I've never been a John Lennon fan, and it's like I knew the TV was on, and so I finally looked over, and there's a show on about two gay guys, and my wife and I had watched one episode weeks ago, and they were expecting a baby. So that episode was kind of about getting ready and how are they going to decorate the room, and this and that, blah, blah, blah. And so But anyway, so I finally look over, and it's just this long segment of them holding their beautiful baby boy, and that's all. But that song has been in my head ever since, and as I stated earlier, don't care for John Lennon, so maybe
Every
you can.
time I hear that song, I think of Mr. Holland's Opus. Have you seen that movie?
A long time ago.
It's a great movie. It's a tearjerker, man.
Yeah.
There's a few like that I don't always like to come out and admit that I really like. Like The Notebook, man.
You don't like to come out about
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Holland's Opus?
It was bullshit, man. My wife and I are sitting on the couch, and she turns on The Notebook, and then gets up and goes to bed. And I'm like, damn it. Now I have to watch this whole movie by myself and cry. It's not my not my most proud moment, but man, that's a good movie.
I don't mind watching them, but I wouldn't be. I generally don't opt for it by choice,
Yeah, I saw this great documentary about a guy who like pretends to be the spiritual guru, grows a beard, learns yoga, gets a big following, and he does it all to teach people that they don't need spiritual leaders. And so he the whole time he's teaching them things like, he's like, you're no different than me, and they're like, yeah, you're so right, you're so magical, and they're like, they don't get it until the very end at the reveal where he shaves off his beard and cuts his hair and comes out in plain clothes and drops the accent, and he's just like, look, man, I was born in the United States, like, I'm sorry, but some of you guys are going to be mad, but you think that I changed your life, but I didn't. You changed your life. You just needed somebody to help you do it. It was like, but you can do these things on your own. Like, all of the chants and stuff I made up, like, it's not real. And like there were 14 people, 4 of them got up and walked out, and then the other 10 like got it. They understood, the message he was trying to. It's just like, spirituality is one thing, but you don't need to keep paying somebody to reach that point. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
They're just taking your money. So it was just I can't remember what it was called, but it's on Netflix right now, in the documentary section. But it was really neat watching, like, being in the know as the spectator, and like, it's like, this guy is totally screwing these people over right now, and lying to them, but for a good reason.
Yeah. I heard a similar thing on This American Life, and same kind of thing. This girl sort of started, I don't know if it was like a yoga or a massage kind of thing, but yeah, she didn't have the credentials or whatever, and she finally got out before, I think she started feeling guilty, but kind of just got out before the guy found out, and then, this is in New York City, so she was just hoping she never ran into him,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, live and learn, I guess, right? So I want to we'll just tap into these, a few at a time here. We'll go back to these 100 greatest cooking tips of all time from foodnetwork.com. Some of them are really obvious. I really like this one. It's from Niche and Taste in St. Louis. The guy's name is Gerald Kraft, and he says, after working with garlic or onions, rub your hands vigorously on your stainless steel sink for 30 seconds before washing them, and the odor's gone. Oh. So, I mean, that always bugs me. Onion and garlic, that stink, it just clings to you. And we have a stainless steel sink, so now I know how to stop that. I just thought that was kind of innovative.
That's cool.
Yeah. Never heard of anything like that before.
Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe he's just trying to scam you
into buying more stainless steel sinks.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, man. So what you got, man? Did you bring any goodies?
I got, I found in our vast library of cooking publications, it's called Cooking with Mickey Around Our World, Walt Disney's Most Requested Recipes. And on the cover is Mickey in, the chef's hat and etc. stirring up something. And in the background is, what is that, Neverland? I don't know if that particular building has a name. And a steamboat sitting in a puddle. And they have a recipe for chili and beans. And so, and apparently this is the recipes they use at like Disney World, Disneyland, I suppose. And instead of boring everyone with the recipe exactly as it's written, it just looks like a pretty standard chili recipe. And,
What's in it, man?
you got 2 pounds of coarsely ground beef, 2¼ cups coarsely chopped Spanish onions, half teaspoon granulated garlic.
Those are the big yellow ones, right?
I believe they
I
are.
think so.
With a capital S on Spanish. Make sure when you go to Bash's or Food City,
Or fries.
the Spanish onions have a capital S. Otherwise, it's bullshit and your chili will taste like crap.
And you might want to be careful. Call them Hispanic onions.
Yes.
We don't want to offend anyone.
Or Latin.
That's right, Latino onions.
2 teaspoons chili powder, 1/4 teaspoon ground cumin, freshly ground black pepper to taste, 1¼ tablespoon salt, 1 tablespoon Spanish with a capital S paprika, 2 cups tomato catsup, 3 cups or a 29-ounce can of tomato puree, 3½ cups beef stock or 3½ cups water plus 4 bouillon cubes, 3¼ cups and or 2 cans, not and or just 2 cans, 15 ounces each. Pinto or kidney beans, 1 cup dry breadcrumbs. And you are going to saute all this together, mix well, bring to boil, simmer. I mean, it's chili. How can you really screw it up? So
this is not a slow cook, though. This is just like you're going to cook the meat, cook the herbs, and throw it all together, and you're ready to roll.
Yeah,
Cool.
1 hour.
Okay, good.
You drain the beans, of course, I guess. So you're going to cook all that without the beans, then add the beans. Stir before serving. Now this is an interesting thing. This will yield 1 gallon of chili. When I was at Pat's, they had on their sign, you can buy a gallon of chili for $50.
What?
Apparently that's how good it is. So.
Wow. That's ridiculous. Speaking of gallons, this is a lesson that I learned. When you go to Costco and you see those gallons of the nacho cheese sauce,
Yes.
and you think, I could eat that, you can't. It molds, and it molds fast. Within a week or so after opening that thing. And it's so processed. You wonder how anything could live on it, but
Mold likes it
mold
too.
likes it too, exactly.
But even mold can't eat a gallon of cheese sauce.
Even though it's only $11.99, do not buy the full gallon. You're better off sticking with the small cans unless you're going feeding an army.
Yeah.
It's a big mistake.
Yeah. That stuff's weird.
It's awesome. I love cheese that you can pour.
Yeah. You're better off melting Velveeta.
Yeah. If you're doing nachos or something.
Velveeta. Yeah. I have another recipe for later that I found in the Starkist Sensational Tuna Favorite All-Time Recipes cookbook. But they don't have one for chili with tuna, which I thought would have been pretty, unique.
Yeah.
But however, they do have a tuni chilies relleno.
Ooh.
And there's a picture.
That sounds delicious.
It looks pretty good, and you don't have to. You bake it, and instead of deep frying or whatever. So I imagine it's a little healthier for you. And there's that for later.
That'll be good. Well, I'm an American, and damn it, if there's one way I know for sure, I don't want any of that foofy blue cheese dressing. I like ranch, and I found this badass ranch recipe.
Well, I just want to say before you get too far, growing up with my stepdad, he was like old school. I mean, before ranch was pre-made, like you had the powder and the buttermilk.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of, that's what I grew up on. It's good.
That stuff's legit.
Yeah.
I know. It's good. I like it too because it's not as thick as the stuff that you get in the bottle. It's a little bit runnier, and you can spread it better. On a salad, it I don't know. It coats the leaves better when it's not so thick. So
So
where did I find this? I'm trying to remember, and I can't. I don't know where I got this recipe, but it says that it is amazing and will become your new favorite. So what you need, it's a little. There's a few things in here you may not have in your cupboard, so go buy them dry, and you'll have them forever. But you're gonna do half. Oh, this makes a lot, by the way. Do a quarter cup black pepper. If you can do it, just ground on the spot. Do
a
it.
quarter cup of
Quarter cup of black pepper.
Wow.
A cup and a half of parsley flakes. Half a cup of garlic salt. 2 tablespoons of kosher salt. Quarter cup of granulated garlic. 3/4 of a cup of granulated onion. And just 2 tablespoons of dill weed. And so take all your dry ingredients, put them in a bowl, mix that shit up, and then let's see. So that's your dry mix, and that's going to make about 3.5 cups of dry. And then now you've got it in a bag, like your little pouch that you'd buy, but now you've got that. And then you use 2 tablespoons of the mix whenever you're ready to do a batch of dressing.
Okay.
So you're ready to roll. And then you just take your mixture that you just made, add 2 cups of mayo, 2 cups of buttermilk, a cup and a half of sour cream, and just a dash of lemon juice. And then shake it up, and you're ready to roll. And I like the fact that they have sour cream in here because I've never seen that before. So it kind of gives that like zesty. So yeah, there you go.
Mayo? Did you say mayo? I'm sorry.
Yeah, mayonnaise.
Yeah.
So 2 cups mayo, 2 cups buttermilk, and a cup and a half of sour cream, and then just a dash of lemon juice. So yeah, and then you've got all that powder ready to roll. And we're not going to talk about it today, but just as a kind of a little taste for probably next week, you're going to use this dry ranch mix in a pasta salad recipe that we're going to talk about next week, which is my it's a chicken bacon ranch pasta salad.
Cool.
And it's like a kick to the taste buds. Good stuff. So my mom, right in the kissa. My mom called me to ask me the recipe because she was doing a picnic and she had to have it. So I felt pretty good about that. Usually it's the other way around.
Yeah, good.
Oh, you're getting love from the fuzzy one, huh?
Yeah, this guy's finally coming out of the closet.
He's been gay for a while.
Gay and black. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
He's a good boy. When's your next day off, man? You off today?
I'm off today, and tomorrow and Friday I switched with a dude, and it's always good when you can accommodate your boss. That earns you points. So working Saturday, and then, oh boy, Saturday night is the inaugural ball at the Green Valley Elks Club for the new leader.
Wow.
The exalted ruler, which always sounds very Nazi-esque. And so, anyway, that'll be fine. I've gone to several, and the Elks are cool. They like to drink and party. Drinks are cheap, and it'll be fine. So that's that. I'm just trying to get over this cold and whatever, enjoying my day, trying to get motivated to do stuff around the house at this new place, and would rather watch 4 or 5 episodes of Mad Men in a row, and that's that.
Well, I'm excited. Ryan finally got down here. He brought his motorcycle, so I'm gonna learn how to ride a street bike. It's kind of funny. The apartment that they got is it's a total dump, and I'll say that openly because he knows that it's a total dump. But as he's getting his motorcycle down off the U-Haul, it was like flies to shit, man. The tweakers come out of nowhere on their BMX bikes, and they're like hovering around his motorcycle, like, "Oh, that's a real nice bike, man." And he he looks at me and I'm like, man, you got to keep that at the ranch. You know, you shouldn't have that around here. He's like, yeah, I won't be storing it here at all. But when we get in there, we're starting to move some of his boxes in this apartment, and the maintenance guy's in there spray painting the countertops, and he's
Nice.
and all of the windows are shut, and so it's just this cloud of spray paint in this apartment, this tiny apartment, and I look up at the maintenance guy, and the pupils of his eyes are like the size of silver dollars, man. He's just high as shit off this paint, and you know. Ryan's like, hey man, do you mind if I open a window or something? You know, he's like, yeah, go right ahead. It's like, why didn't you think of this? You know, but yeah, they went down to sign the lease, and the first thing out of the manager's mouth is, so about your air conditioner. You know, and he's like, what about it? She's, well, it's not working right now, but we're getting parts for it, and the last guy that was working on it doesn't work here anymore because he just likes to take things apart. Like, great, another meth head, awesome. but they've been staying over here the past couple days. It's like they're really hoping to try and get something better, but they had to have a place to lay their stuff, and so I mean they're almost positive they'll end up breaking that lease just to get out of it. But
they obviously just booked it, but without seeing it, right, from Seattle.
Yeah. And they knew that it was, they're paying like $500 a month after utilities and everything. It's really cheap. But neither of them had jobs. They had plenty of the money to get down here, but none of them have jobs yet. So, it's kind of hard to get an apartment when you can't prove that you have an income. So it's just, it's good to have them here. I feel bad that they're, kind of in a dumpy place, but it's not permanent,
Yeah.
It'll be all right. I'm just excited to get on that motorcycle, man. I haven't ridden before, so it'll be something new. Be a lot of fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right on. Wow.
So, let's talk about this chili. Talk about your chili a little bit. This one, I belong to a couple of different message boards or forums or whatever. And one of the forums I belong to is the Joe Rogan board. And I go on there and dick around. And one guy had a thread about, tell me your crock pot recipes. And so I was flipping through it. And this one is by a guy named Curtis Ray on the Joe Rogan board. And it looks like it kicks ass. So what you want to do is you get a cup of beef broth. And it says a bottle of dark beer. It says no shitty beer, just like a good solid dark beer, and then a tablespoon of cider vinegar, and then you take those three things, mix them together, and then whisk in 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, 2 tablespoons of molasses, 2 tablespoons of chili powder, 1 tablespoon of paprika, 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt, and half a teaspoon of pepper. And then you mix it all together. Once you got that in, you're going to add 2 pounds of beef brisket. Get the fat trimmed off there, cut it into little tiny chunks. And 1 diced yellow onion. I think it's probably the same Spanish onion that we talked about earlier. A Latino onion. And then 3 chopped garlic cloves and 1 can of fire roasted diced tomatoes. And then you just put it all in the crock pot, man. Hit the low button. Low and slow for 8 hours.
Fire roasted diced tomatoes.
Yeah, I think you can get Hunt's or Rotel.
Okay.
Or I'm sure there are other brands out there. I like Hunt's personally. So 8 hours deep, and then you pick your beans. We do 1 can of kidney, 1 can of pinto, and 1 can of black. So it's gonna make a lot of food. They say using cans. I like my own. I like to cook my own beans.
Yeah.
Let them soak. Cook them up and then throw them in there. But whatever. Cans are easier. And it says serve with cornbread, beer, and fresh sliced jalapeno peppers. So this just looked really good. I wanted to make it before today and have some. I just haven't been able to make it to the store yet to get all this stuff. There's a lot of stuff I don't have. I don't have the cider vinegar or the molasses but I don't think it's too expensive. It looks like, if you don't have any of the spices at all, you could put the whole thing together for about $20, and then it makes a ton of chili. You know, probably more than a gallon of chili.
Yeah.
So that's like half price.
And you freeze it, what you don't eat.
Yeah.
It's even better the next time.
That's right. I loves me some chili.
Speaking of, I'm going to grab me a Pat's chili dog.
Do it.
Apparently, according to the Tucson Weekly, it has to have the mustard and the onions. Otherwise, it's just there's no point. So
awesome.
You get a family pack, which is 4 chili dogs and a big thing of wilty, greasy French fries. I'm just not making a judgment. I'm just saying that's how they are. People must love them because for like, I don't know, it was $9.30. So if you want to start raising your kids on chili dogs and fries, that's the way to go. So I'm going to grab one.
That sounds good. I think that's a good idea. Let me know how that chili dog works out. We'll take a little break and we'll be back in just a second here.
Here is a little bit of Bill Bruford solo. First solo. No. This particular track, Bill actually covered himself with a. He has a. Well, he's actually retired now, but sort of his last thing was called Earthworks, and so he's added horns and stuff to this track called Beelzebub.
That was, who was that?
That was Bill Bruford and Earthworks, a remake of his own song from his first solo album called Beelzebub. I don't think he's an actual devil worshiper or Beelzebub, but he is a badass. So maybe he made a deal with the devil to be such a good drummer.
A bargain.
Yeah. Anyway.
I think I left my coffee over there. I'm gonna go get my coffee. By the way, that chili dog was phenomenal. That was so good.
That was pretty good. Well, I did order the spicy chili. It was funny because, excuse me, I was just one of those people that kind of fascinated by, people's jobs or watching them do their jobs. And so I'm watching this girl get everything ready. And so she, unfolds the buns, puts the hot dogs in, and she takes her little spoon and she just slides a little mustard on each one with a spoon. And then she puts like a scoop of onions, but it's like right in the middle of the hot dog. So I'm watching this and I'm thinking, hey, can you spread those around? But come to find out, when she does the chili, is when she spreads the onions all over. And
there's a system.
Oh yeah. And I'm sure there's a training program at Pat's for that. And I'm sure people have their favorite chili spreaders there. But anyway, yeah, it was good.
It was delicious, nice and spicy.
I could see how people could do that a lot if you worked in that area.
That bugs me too with sandwiches or anything like that. The glob in the middle, it's got to hit every edge, for me. My dad is notorious. My mom won't even let him make her sandwiches because he just globs, peanut butter, boom, boom, smacks it together and calls it a day. It's just, like, I don't get it. I don't understand how that's acceptable to me. It's just not okay. Every bite needs to be consistent.
Yeah. And you're just stuck with a bunch of dry bread at the edge of your sandwich.
Yeah.
That's just wrong.
It is. I know. Someone needs to teach that man a lesson.
I'll do it.
Do it.
Send him to Pat's.
Yes.
Well, I let's see, last night I got a call to do an x-ray on this woman. And so they don't give us the names of the patients anymore over the phone or the text, and because of HIPAA. And
I'm sorry, what is that?
HIPAA is like it's an acronym for Health Information Protection Privacy Act or something, so that people don't have access to your, your health issues or your name or whatever that's part of your. And so, anyway, there was a kind of a house call, and so sometimes they'll give you directions or whatever. And I was using my GPS, which usually works sometimes. But anyway, I was already pissed off. I just was like, just frustrated at everything, And so, we get to this house. Well, it said use. For example, just this name, it said use Bucera candelita or something. So I'm thinking, okay, they're wanting me to use like a different road to make it easier to get to this person's house or apartment. And so I couldn't find it right off the bat, and I'm up and down the street, and then, thinking I keep looking for a Bucera Street or a Candelita or some cross street, and anyway, I finally get there, and so I go in the house, and the daughter, who's an adult, takes me into her mom's room, and her mom's in this real nice sort of wheelchair thing with her feet propped up. She's got a blanket over it, and it's an exam for a foot and ankle. And so she says, okay, well, and she pulls the blanket back. I swear to God, this woman's ankle and foot, everything was swollen, but her ankle was just like as big as my knee.
Wow.
Just like, I feel bad for her. But it was disgusting, and like skin is breaking. It's not oozing, but like, it's not a swelling from a break or a fracture or anything or a sprain. It's like something's obviously been going on for a while, right?
Like an infection or what?
No, I don't know. And so I said, oh, excuse me, I'll be right back. So I run out to the van and I get some gloves, which I should always carry, but get some gloves and I come back and I pretend like I had them in my pocket all along. So I put on the gloves and it's like, okay, so I do the exam, but it's just the funny part, if there is one to the story, was as I'm walking out, and the lady's like, "Oh, thank you so much. I really hope there's nothing wrong with my mom's leg." And I just thought, you, you really hope there's nothing? Take this poor woman to the freaking hospital. What do you mean?
Have you seen the leg? Have you lifted up the blanket?
Good Lord. So the moral of the story is: be nice to your kids, or they will make you suffer with illness and ailments. But I think the thing was, because when the girls texted me from dispatch said use the name whatever, I was thinking it was cross streets. I don't think Nana was a citizen, and so to put her information in whatever, I had to use this particular name. But it was just really weird, and I'm just amazed that people can go so long without having things checked out or something. Yeah. Is it really too much to get your Nana into the car and take her to urgent care or something? Or I guess it is.
It's expensive though, man.
Shit,
it really is. I mean, it costs a lot of money to be healthy.
It does. Oh, and here was the other hilarious note. Okay, not hilarious, but Nana, of course, is watching her, her primetime Telemundo soap opera thingy, and just one of the characters was like this bad guy, and he's wearing like a muscle shirt, and he's a young guy. He's not like the typical, Italian Guido with the shoulder hair. This is like a young guy, but he had like little tufts of hair on his shoulders and stuff. And of course, I can't understand a word he's saying to the handsome, good-looking guy, and he stands up at one point and he's got like this pair of nunchucks in his hands, and just the shoulder hair and the nunchucks and grandma's foot really was, I think, the highlight of my evening. And that's it.
I'd roll around when I was still living in Sacramento. I'd find like on the AM station, I'd find the like the angry Russian talk show. And just crank it and drive around listening to it, just to see what kind of looks I'd get, because and it's obvious I don't speak Russian, and I wasn't planning on learning it, but it sounds like just
it sounds
horrible.
Angry,
huh?
Yeah,
just really
that
not
German.
Yeah.
Just saying, folks, for those of you who might be Russian or German, it sounds angry. I'm sure it's not.
Well, Tool's got that song, "Die Eier von Satan," Satan, and the whole thing is just a recipe for pot brownies, but it's all in German.
Oh yeah.
And it just makes it sound like this hate speech. It's not at all. If you decode it, it just talks about and no eggs. It's really
2
good.
tablespoons of cocoa.
Exactly.
Schnell.
So I was just looking over these 100 greatest cooking tips of all time on foodnetwork.com, and I'll post the link at the beginning of the podcast and also right now. But one of them, it says, for best results when you're baking, leave butter and eggs at room temperature overnight. I would have never thought to do that. I do that with meat, but would have never thought. Butter, yeah, I get it. Butter can stay out on the counter, but would have never thought to leave my eggs out. Although they come out of the chicken warm.
Well, I think the thing is, when we went to Puerto Vallarta or something, like at those stores, like the eggs are all just out. And I think the trick is, once you refrigerate them, then they have to stay refrigerated. I think overnight is fine, but
yeah,
I don't know if that's the case. But yeah, eventually they would go bad.
Well, sure. Like I said, they come out of the chicken warm, so they've got to be good for a while anyway, not in the refrigerator.
It's an unborn chicken.
That's right.
And I think from Miss Kitty, her thing is when you're cooking with beans, if you soak them overnight,
degas them.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, does she add a little something to it, like a little No, just soak them.
I don't know. I don't know what she does. I've known that too.
So that's pretty common.
You don't heat them at all. Just put them in cold water and let them soak overnight. For me, I'm still gassy because I'm just that kind of person. But I guess it works for some people. I haven't noticed a difference, but that's what I've been told too.
I like to just put Beano in the recipe.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. That stuff's expensive, man. I can't believe the amount of money that people pay just not to fart.
Yeah.
You know, and then your poops are weird too. You know.
Your post Beano poops.
My post Beano poops are kind of
your PBPs.
Yeah, that'd be a good T-shirt. I know that my son is my son because he came up to me the other day and he's like, "Dad, I want to tell you something." I said, "Okay," and he just looks at me and he goes, "Poop." I was like, "That's right, son. Good job." This is a joke. Just poop. Number 48 on the list is invest in parchment paper. Like, this is totally true. When I was making cookies before, like, you don't need to put Pam or oil on your pan or anything. Parchment paper is the shit. It's a little expensive, but it's worth it if you're going to be baking cookies or anything on a baking tin. Do it. Does that keep your cookie sheet clean? That's a good question. Absolutely, it does. It makes it super easy to slide the cookies right off, and your cookie sheet doesn't get all ugly, and it's totally worth it. One thing that we haven't said in this whole podcast yet is if you have a recipe for us, email us at cookingcomically@gmail.com. I'll put that at the beginning of the podcast and also right now. We want to hear from you. We haven't heard from anybody, and I know you're out there listening because I can see how many people are listening. So don't be a bitch. Write us. Tell us your recipe. Tell us how you make chili or how you cook whatever. If you have a
chili dog.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, that was good. I know it's going to be a mistake bowel-wise, but it was good mouth-wise. Yeah, give us an email. Just going through this list, this is really cool. I didn't even look for it. I just kind of happened upon it. But just, you know, if you get a chance to read the whole thing once over, I mean, a lot of it's just sort of, oh yeah, I knew that, or I'd forgotten about that. But then there's some new stuff that is really cool. Number 51 says, when you roast a whole chicken, the breast always overcooks and dries out because the legs have to cook longer. So the really simple way to keep it moist is to separate the breast and the leg, season as you normally would, and roast as you normally would, but remove the breast sooner than the leg. So it's kind of a good idea. Because that's my problem too, man. It's always like,
yeah,
it's always dry.
Well, it's thicker.
Now, yeah, big old bird boobs.
Yeah, a recipe for chili dog.
Yeah, I'd love to hear some people's ideas for chili dogs, man. Whatever happened to those hot dogs with the cheese in the middle of them?
Oh yeah,
like those just aren't around anymore. That was one of those things that were like, you know, like a guilty pleasure. Like they were horrible, but they were good at the same time. You know.
Yeah. Kind of shied away from hot dogs as I've gotten older, but I gotta say. I was raised on Oscar Mayer hot dogs, and so that's kind of
That's your go-to dog?
That's my go-to dog, or eating raw dog.
Oh man, it's just a tubular bologna is all it is. You get that film on the roof of your mouth when you eat the raw hot dog. Yeah, you can feel it up on the. It's horrible. I was raised on Bar S hot dogs. You know, the ones that are $1 a pack at Walmart. Yeah, we was po. They're not nearly as good. Like when you do eat like a Hebrew National or one of those ones that they're expensive, you know, it's like, damn, that's a good hot dog. It's because I'm always buying the cheap shit. Yeah. You know, I never invest in a decent Frank.
A decent wiener.
I guess.
Go ahead.
I guess there is a difference between like a Frankfurter and hot dog or something. I can't remember what it was. Like one is all beef and one is
Frank.
made with pork.
Oh.
Pork and chicken. So, they're not, the words aren't interchangeable, but I don't know. I can't remember, which is which. But apparently, there is a reason why some people call them, Franks and Wieners and whatever.
The people at Circle K don't care.
Hell no.
99 cents, baby.
Slap that bitch on a roller and let it go.
Oh man, sometimes when I'm working late, it's like, if I don't have a lot or whatever, like just a hot dog, yeah. And then I've learned obviously that after a certain point in the evening, they don't keep making hot dogs. The grillers are dry and turned off, and it's kind of a drag.
It's a total gamble when you're in there because they just throw on a few and let them go until they look like leather, and it's like you got to catch them like 30 minutes into the roller process, and that's like prime, and then after that they just start to dry out and break your teeth off.
Do not eat the hot dogs behind this line.
Seriously.
I like the leather ones though, and I know it's cooked.
We cooked some hot dogs last night over the fire, and I was really impatient. My dog wasn't cooking fast enough, so I literally just set it down in the coals, and then I fed it to Ryan, and he said it tasted horrible, so he set it down in the tent that was covered in dirt, and then realized that he was still hungry, so we ate it anyway, and yeah. I just got lazy, man. I didn't want to hold that stupid stick up anymore. I wanted it to be done already.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, it was toward the end of the night. Number 60 on this list of 100 greatest cooking tips of all time from thefoodnetwork.com. I completely disagree with. It says, don't go to the store with a shopping list. Go to the store, see what ingredients look good, and then make your list.
What?
Yeah, if you're a friggin' millionaire, that's like that's the stupidest thing. I waste so much money when I don't have a list or I'm not prepared.
Oh, that looks good. Oh, yeah, that looks good.
Yeah.
Oh, I want that.
Especially when you're hungry.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the worst. Man. Unless you go to Costco, because then they feed you while you're there. Make a couple rounds, and I call that dinner. That works nice. Well, I'd say that's about a wrap, man. Check out the 100 greatest cooking tips of all time on thefoodnetwork.com. I'll put up the link. Next week, we will definitely do the pasta salad. We'll talk a little bit more about chili. We will read your emails if you email us. And I'm looking forward to your treat because you always bring something fun. So
yes.
that'll be nice. I don't want to know what it'll be. I like the surprise.
Okay.
No.
Hopefully I'll remember enough to get a recipe from Miss Kitty finally that is pretty good.
That will be. She's a phenomenal cook, and I keep talking about trying to get Ryan on here. We will eventually do that, but we got to get our microphone situation under control. Who's closing us out? What song is this?
This is a song with Bill Bruford on drums and Patrick Moraz on keyboard, and they just did an album. I mean, not just did, but the two of them did one album together, and I guess you gotta be maybe hardcore, but because it's just piano and drums, it can be a little stark. It's not for everyone. This song is called Children's Concerto, and it's Bill Bruford on drums, Patrick Moraz on piano. I like this section here because it goes into this Latin thing. It's pretty cool. And anyway, have a good week, everybody.